I'm just gonna go over everything. We're just gonna I'm gonna do a quick intro and then go over our work. So, what's up, everybody? This is Eric LaCour doing. I've been helping Joseph here with his photography recently, and we're gonna do a screen share and go over some of the recent projects, and I'll just talk about it as we go. Um, Here we go. Start sharing. Let's see. What were we going to start with? Oh yeah, we're going to start with your portrait. So, um, was this your first project? You did a couple other things. Basically, I was trying
Yeah.
to photograph people, and this was his first project. And basically, we wanted to do a portrait, and this image was just a little bit too much about the art. When we do a portrait, we want to make sure like they're the main subject. So, this is cool. It's like a little travel type photo or whatnot, is what I would consider it. But but I told him he needed to do a little more, something that a little more focused, and he knocked it out of the park. We ended up with getting his sister. But that was also another part of it is he was having a problem with his sister coordinating with him, right? And so I told him that was part of it, like dealing with people and getting them to be comfortable in front of the camera, and especially, brothers and sisters could be even harder.
Hmm.
But with this one, you did a really good job, dude. Especially compositionally, you got like, all these lines are good, like where they're crossing the edges, and her pose is great. Like one thing that a lot of people can do that can be bad is like, when you got an arm pointing too straight, or you don't see an arm or things like that. Um, Point is, you got a nice relaxed shot with her, and you shot this with an iPhone, right?
Hmm.
Um, so you did a great job, man. Editing looks really good. I mean, the shoes might be a little blown out. There's like you're losing detail in here, but it is what it is. It's still a great shot. Um, oh no, did you hear
Yeah.
that? Oh my god,
Uh,
I knew, like, just
you knew it
coincidence.
was gonna happen.
Why does this always have to happen? Anyway, because like yesterday we tried to do it, and we ran out of time. Um, I'm gonna hope that's working itself out. So um, now, now that we've been quarantined, we decided to kind of follow Ted Forbes, The Art of Photography. So I introduced Joseph to The Art of Photography. I think that's a really great channel. Ted is one of my favorite teachers. He has a great channel. I really love his artist series. I wish he would, if he's watching this, I really hope he does more of those in the future. That is my personal favorite stuff. But right now we're doing, let's see. So right now he did a portrait project assignment, and this is the assignment number one. This is mine, which is we'll go through real quick. He just wanted us to shoot. Part of the assignment was to shoot the window light, right?
Hmm.
So this is just my window, my little attic area where where my office is, and I set my camera in this one spot, and this is actually a period of 2 days. I didn't shoot a ton, but like this is early morning, so we get like some really cool hard light coming through, which is really nice, and you get these shadows of the windows, really cool. And then of course, most of the other times a day, it is mostly open sky and really soft light coming through. This is another one I think this is a different day where with the morning light coming through. Um, yeah, so this is my window study for that project. There's another one with the morning where the lights coming through. So you can see that's my little meditation pad.
Hmm.
So, that's where I like to sit, and that's my little speaker. Put on some good like some
Good music while taking photos.
singing metals. It's like whoa 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 while I meditate. And so this is actually a Apple box, one of my Apple boxes that I use for a lot of my photography and portraits and things. And I just literally, let me show you real quick. What we're doing is I'm copying kind of like this image. So part of the of Ted Forbes project is to copy one of Joseph Sudek's images, and this is one of his still lives. And you know, because I'm teaching Joseph a lot of stuff, but you can see here what most of what I've been talking about is what he's been using. Do you notice like the main subject is right in a third? You got angled this angled line here that's not crossing right at the corner. It's got like a decent amount of space here, so you can, you know, it's just more soothing to the eye. What I like about this though is like you can tell this is like a hard light coming through a window, and the reason you can tell is like, I mean, it's almost backlit. It's really right at a side. That's why you see so much of this dark. The plant is so dark here, a rose or whatever. It's got like this edge light on it. Really a cool dimension, something to pay attention to. And one of the things actually even Ted Forbes mentions is like the bubbles in the water and whatnot, which is really cool. Um, and those are like added elements that can make such a small, like just a cup of glass, look so much more interesting.
Majestic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, majestic, and it just adds a little bit to it. And you got, I think those that it's either something on the lens or it's reflecting off the water, so that's really cool. And now we can go back and look at what I did. And so mine, this is like a soft light. I set a glass here with some water, and I don't have any bubbles or anything. Like I wish I had that. You know, another quick go back to Joseph real quick. Another thing he does in a lot of his stuff is he's always. We'll talk about that one in a second. Look, this is like it looks like the same glass at a different angle. It's interesting. And look, you can see like the window it is casting these crazy shadows on that wall. It's pretty interesting. Um, so this is what I want to.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is an added element that he uses, and we could possibly use it in our images. So I think the story behind this is Joseph had some Joseph Sudek. He he had his assistants like knock up dust to create this effect. And this is something that a lot of people use in movies and whatnot, and in paintings. Sumato is the name of it. It's a technique. It's a painting technique to where you give it this smoky look. It's actually coined comes from Leonardo da Vinci. That's one of the things, and that's one of the things. The reason we study painting, the reason I'm into studying painting, is because you know that's where a lot of the art comes from. That's where it all started. That's where all these compositional elements. Like, you can see that they're using those like the rule of thirds, just like I told you before. Like look where the brightest crossing lines are crossing right at a third. Crazy, right? Like you
Yeah.
would think about that normally. And then there's nothing really going right in the corners. This is a little bit like it gives it a little bit of space here, so it's not going right in the corners. And then yeah, and it's got repeating lines. You got repeated lines crossing repeated lines. It's cool. It's really cool. That's what makes this image so cool. Uh, the reason I brought that up is because I wanted to show you the Sumato. That's how I say it. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. It's Sumato. I checked it out. So we'll just stick with Joseph's stuff for a little bit. Here's some more Sumato. That's just natural, I'm assuming. I doubt he had people knocking dust out there. So that's just an early morning shot, which is really cool. And you could say this is like repeated lines. Look, it looks like these were planted here almost.
Yeah.
Perfect row.
Perfectly.
Yeah. And then of course the main tree is not perfectly centered. Like that's what I would call the main subject, but it's a little bit to the right, you know? Keeps the eye The reason you don't want to, don't get me wrong, like I say all the time, all rules can be broken. Some people do it intentionally, do it centered images, but for the most part, we like to keep the eye working, so we keep it a little bit to the right or to the left. Here's another one, a little Samato, repeated lines. That's just cool. And then look, notice how he frames this. If you framed this, if this line was over here, this would look like, this could look like it was like deeper and longer. You know what I'm saying? By adding this here, he's showing you that there's an edge. Just those little small things can add a little bit of dimension. Just showing you that little edge. And then look, remember how I talk about not putting those lines in the corners? Look, that one's going right in the corner.
Yeah.
Right? But it works. It's not like very prominent, so it's cool. So it works.
It's cool for overall.
Right? I mean, and this is another one. The reason I'm showing you these is because they're such simple still lives, but they're compositionally and amazing and lighting. Like, this is why doing projects like this is so
eye-opening.
Yeah, and eye-opening. Yeah, and so you're practicing these compositional elements, and like, look, it's bottom third. That's one of my favorites. I've told you that before. Like, I love kind of like low centered images with this high space up here. It's pretty cool. And then look, where are these lines leading? They're all leading kind of in a third. That main egg is in a third. These lines might lead you here, but the main subject is right over here to the left. So the point is, it's kind of making you, ideally, your eye is searching. That's the point of, how you make interesting, amazing images, is making people's eye move around the image. You want people looking at, you want it to be a scroll. Nowadays, it's a scroll stopper, right? You're like, wait, what am I looking at? Kind of like look around. Just added elements are always good. And once again, these lines are, they're not going right. You could say, hey, there's a line here that's going right in there, but for the most part, it keeps a good spacing. It's great. It's all about like design elements. How you're using these compositional elements in this small square. Some more added like atmospheric element.
Oh, yeah,
that
I like
window,
that mist.
right? And that also helps bring your attention to the main subject. And just like that last image, it's all like in this lower third, and this is in a third here. This one as well. And then he's not cropping into this. He's giving you a little extra. Some people call this like a frame within a frame, right? So the frame, it's like So I think, I can't remember what they call that, but it's basically framing. And then you also have an edge of these boxes, just showing you that there's a little more elements here. There's a little more to this space. It's not just a plain window. It's someone's home, or his studio. Those look like photo boxes to me. Those are old print boxes. And then some little hidden thing here. That looks like that could be a lens cap.
Most likely.
Yeah. And that's him. That's Joseph, and Joseph Sudek. And I just put this one in here. Obviously, somebody else shot this. It looks like one of his gallery showings, but I thought in general it's a cool documentary style portrait, right? So you got the brightest part of this image is his face. So all the attention is going there. It's not perfectly centered. It's a little bit to the left. You got a little bit, it's shot at a shallow depth of field. So you have softer, everything in the background softer, but you can tell that it's a crowd. It's like that's what I mean by documentary style. There's something going on there, and it's almost like it's a created moment, so to show you that there's more to it than he's not posing in a studio or whatnot. He's at an event. And then once again, these compositional elements, these lines are, great. They got like this is right at right in that area of a third. These lines where they're coming down on the in the frame. Really cool stuff.
Mm.
Um, this is a cool added element. Now,
Wow.
the reason I'm
Hmm.
showing you we're going over these is because uh, I'll get to that in a minute, but we're probably both going to reshoot this. I'm going to reshoot it as well, just because we were going to experiment a little more. Because I already looked at your images, and we'll talk about that. Obviously, I told you to just do whatever. It's just a light study. That's all it was, right? So we're just kind of studying. Uh, but this one's really cool. Obviously, he's got bubbles in the glass again. He's got an egg behind there. I'm assuming that's because it's well lit, or it could be this one reflecting. I'm not sure. I
Hmm.
think it's one behind it. Um, but it's cool, dude. We can even
Yeah,
get just
visually, it's amazing.
yeah, right. All that broken up, like the geometric shapes that's created with that glass is amazing. This is another one of his images, and the reason I wanted to show you is because, obviously, very similar to that, like a couple of shots that we just looked at. How I was talking about how they show an edge in a tasteful way, an edge of something, just to let you know that there's a little more there than the main subject. So it's a documentary style image in a sense. Uh, this is basically I would call this a still life, but you're giving it a sense of like its use, or it's I'm trying to think of the word for it, but basically it is more than just a spoon. It kind of shows one of its uses and one of its partners. Kind of like the portrait has the people in the background, so it's giving you a little more depth to the image.
Mm.
More leading line
Wow.
and Sumato. Um, Now this one, what's really cool, you like that? uh, is like, what would you consider the main subject in this image?
Mm, I feel like the light, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
well,
like
that's
I
actually a
feel
really good
more.
answer because, yeah, that's what they talk about. That's what, Joseph Sudek is all about is, just interesting light. A lot of his work looks like light studies, and I relate to that so much. I could show you some of my older work before I even knew who this was. I basically was always shooting like different light shapes and things like that, which hopefully we'll go over that one day. But considering like the leading lines and stuff, you can see where the lines are leading to this one character, like right here. I mean, that's what I
Hmm.
would say would be like because you got these lines and these lines. I mean, the light's amazing, obviously, but if you were to say there was a main subject, it could be this guy all alone by himself. That's what I would say. And then this is I just thought it was a cool portrait of his. One day we'll recreate something like this. We'll get there one day.
I like the
Yeah,
shadow part. It's pretty cool.
that's probably a big part of it. Actually, there may be more of a study about more of a reason behind that. I would like to know who this guy is. There may be, imagine he's a psychologist talking about the shadow. You know, maybe that's Carl Jung. Uh, so that was a little bit of his work. I just wanted to go over quickly with you, and then this is mine. I really like that. I just think it's beautiful, soft light. This might be a little overblown because you can't see all the elements of the glass. I got my nice dirty apple box here. Well, one
Looks
thing
like
you
a
can do
painting.
was that.
It looks like a painting.
Yeah, yeah. And then you can see the compositional elements. This isn't perfectly in a third. It's a little over to the right even further, which I like. I do that. Yeah, so you can see my little experiment. There's a couple shots. I got a couple shots in here. This one's a little more centered. I might have cropped this a little tight here. Could have maybe given a little bit more space. I'm shooting at a shallow depth of field. I think I was shooting at 2.8. Kind of got a little edge here. Not too bad. This is a little bit harder light. You can see there's a little more of a shadow here. So, but I'll show you. what I wanted to talk about. So now, like once you get to like harder lights and you start, it's amazing to me how you can just use light to add so many more compositional elements. You know,
Hmm.
so we got like these lines here, and it just adds a little more dimension to the image. This is like a harder light. You can see how sharp those shadows are. That's from
Yep.
like more direct light.
Because in the
Or-
other photo there wasn't that much direct light.
Yeah, in my last image or his
In
image.
your last image.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's kind of a nice in between. Like super. That's super soft. It's like the softest one. And you got a little bit sharper. I don't. That's not like full direct. It's cool though. That's like a good light. That's what I like. That in between. Not too hard, not too soft.
Hmm.
That would be my favorite light right there. But once you get the hard light, you get to play with these more compositional elements. So I was just kind of playing with these shapes and these different lines. This one's cool. I mean, sometimes you can look at these as like leading lines to the main subject. Here's another one, pretty crazy. Lots of different compositional elements.
That one's beautiful.
You like that one?
I like it.
Appreciate that. And notice what I did here purposely. I actually tried to. So I got the. I would call this the main subject, right? That's the main thing you're going to look at. It's the most beautiful part. It's the most colorful part. But I had the hard light hitting it, and I purposefully put that with the darker part behind it to kind of make it pop a little more, you know? And then obviously I got, a decent amount of space here and cool compositional elements. I mean, look how many leading lines we have here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh, a
6,
lot.
7. Like it looks so simple, but there's so many compositional elements here. Um, yeah, same one, just a little cropped a little differently. Got a little more of that shadow in there. And then look, I kind of got up and shot
Yeah.
down on it, which isn't quite as interesting. You know, I tried. This is just simple and beautiful. I love, yeah, like, I love this. I like the space. That's just something I've always gotten into. I really love the minimalist of it.
Hmm. I like the angle you shot it from.
Yeah. Shooting down, this is an interesting compositional element. And then of course he's in like a bottom third. Just a little different angle, same compositional idea. Oh, yeah. I like this too. I love like showing, like I said, like showing a little bit of an edge of something here. Kind of helps it
Hmm.
frame it and kind of gives it a little more depth to the image. There's a little more there. And then see, I went to this one. I'm actually I really love. Man, there was an artist. I'll come on. I'll look it up. When I was in New York, I went to a gallery show, and this one artist. Well, I know George Harrell. George Harrell? Crap, I gotta look it up. Not George. I gotta look this up. Okay, I knew it wasn't George Harrell. It's something. George Harrell. Real quick, was a Hollywood photographer known for shooting all these people. That's not who I'm thinking about. But he is a good person to study. We will go over his stuff one day. But I think it's James Turrell. So close. James Turrell. Architectural contributions to society all over the world. Um, he's like a architectural lighting artist. It's freaking cool. But what I wanted to say was like all his stuff was about art. Actually, we're gonna go somewhere else. Oh, let's see. Let's see what his website looks like. Yeah, this is the
Wow.
kind of
Oh, I know that blue. I think I know where that is. That
yeah.
one.
Well,
Yep.
there's been other people that have copied him, and I saw them, and I forgot their names. One was named his name's Doug something, but James Terrell is kind of like he's the man when it really comes to stuff. Like, look at this. That is just amazing to me,
It's
and that's
beautiful.
all just compositional, different tones in different shapes. It's just amazing. I love that stuff. And then look, he just creates spaces, and the light is the artwork creating. I mean, light always is, I guess, when you really think about it. But we'll go over more of this maybe one day. But I just wanted to stick that out there just to show you, because I'm all about, and what brought that up was the idea of using light as compositional elements, like having these extra little shadows
Hmm.
are really cool. Yeah, like those extra little lines are just interesting little just things to be aware of, you know? Oh, there's a cat. All right. What else? Oh yeah, so we'll go ahead and look real quick at yours. That's your window shot. Look, you got some water on there. We got
Hmm.
some added elements. No, it looks good. Uh I know you did this really quickly, so it's cool. But look, I mean, dude, honestly, look at these compositional elements back here. Cool lines. Look, that's cool. Yellow line here. Look, line here. Those are cool. It's actually a lot cooler than you think. We look at it and we're like, oh, it's a cup. But it's good. This one's crooked.
Hmm. I should have fixed that. I should have cropped
What?
it a bit more.
Dude, it could be, it's right on that edge, but those compositional elements, that is really cool. This could be a cool black and white. You can even angle it a little bit more, I think, personally. Just a tad bit more. And be like intentional. Because right now it's like an accident. But once you edge it, angle it a tad bit more, it's more intentional.
Hmm.
And this one's like backlit. You got harder light coming in there. Is this out your window?
Yeah. Well,
Whoa.
out my parents' window.
Out your parents' window? Well, like I said once again, angle it a little bit more, be intentional, or straighten it out. But besides that, not bad. Uh, let's both reshoot this week so we can have some better stuff to show Ted next week. And yeah, we'll hopefully this time we'll add, if you can, add a little Sumato smoky effect, or add some condensation to the glasses, maybe some bubbles in the water, something like that. Um, yeah, dude, moving along. I'm really happy about your portrait. That was great.
Thanks.
But now we have a lot to work on. Like there's a lot going on in those Sudek images. So we'll just try and do better um, assignments for the art of photography um, assignments. I don't know when he's going to do the second one. Hopefully soon. But while the first one's there's only been number one up so far, as far as I know.
When did
So
he post number one?
he only posted one, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out for the second one. Until then, we will improve these for next week. Um, and me and you will get back on the call on next Sunday.
All right.
All right, dude.
All right. Take care. Have a good
Good
rest of
job.
your week.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Bye.